the thing that we see happen with a lot of people is the holidays come around and it's supposed to be this time where we're able to, connect with people and we're supposed to be able to celebrate and we kind of come back recharged. What happens more times than not is people feel more tired after the holidays. They feel more depleted after the holidays, and they didn't take that time to kind of kick back and relax. Welcome to the Exercise is Health podcast, where we're talking about exercise, health, and the interconnectedness of the two. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and we will be coming to you every single week from our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Exercise is Health podcast. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and we're coming to you from our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg in Schaumburg, Illinois. Now, at Muscle Activation Schaumburg, we believe your health is your most valuable asset. Your health is one of the biggest influencers of the quality and quantity of time that you have. And while there are many aspects of health, our expertise is exercise. Exercise has been proven time and again to not only improve your health, but also increase your longevity and improve your quality of life. And today we are talking about topics that are super relevant this time of year. And that is things that you can start doing now and over the coming days to make the holidays that are coming up less detrimental for your health. Because one of the things that we see that's commonplace, whether it's this time of year with 4th of July, with Canada Day, or whether it's later in the year with its Labor Day weekend, Thanksgiving, Christmas, is it always seems like when the holidays come around, that becomes a time when people start to lose their health. Priorities shift, and as such, people stop prioritizing their health and well-being as much. The challenge with this is your body still has to be healthy in order to function well, okay? In order for you to feel well, in order for you to be able to enjoy the activities that you're wanting to do. So, if you can take some time now to start planning and preparing for how to keep your body healthy over the holidays, not only are the holidays going to be much more enjoyable, but they'll be less detrimental to your health when you start to return to your more normal activities.
And not to mention, I felt like most people at the end of like a holiday chunk, they're like, oh, I got to get back to the gym, got to get back to my nutrition, which tells me that they feel like they're really off. Mm-hmm. And that's not a good feeling to have, whether it's, related to gut health or you just feel kind of cruddy or, some of your joint aches and pains are coming back. So definitely use these tips so that you're not feeling that like slump at the end of your holidays, because that means that's a good sign that you've kind of overdone it, and good for you for wanting to get back to it. But it would be great if you didn't have to do this jump back into it, and you could kind of maintain as best as you can through the holiday season or through that holiday.
Yeah, so we have 5 tips that we are going to give you today to kind of help you make sure that you're able to at least maintain your health to the best of your ability over the coming days as we start to celebrate our respective holidays, okay? And the first tip that we're going to give you is to plan what your activity is going to be ahead of time. All right. So think about what your activities are going to be over the coming days and plan out what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. From going for a walk to, more intense, like going for a run, to, hey, if you can get to the gym and lift some weights, awesome. But, make sure that this is planned ahead of time. So just like all the other holiday activities that get planned ahead of time, there's a spot for it in your schedule and there's a spot for it on your to-do list, because otherwise what we find is just like any other time of the year, if it's not scheduled, if it's not planned, it's less likely to get done. So if you're thinking to yourself, hey, you know what? Over the coming days, it's going to be, busier with activities that are out of the norm for me, whether it's attending events or going to festivals or what have you. Well, actually, nobody's really going to festivals right now, but in general, right? In general. So all that aside, if you see that the upcoming days are going to be more out of the norm for you, that just means that you need to take a little bit more time to figure out what activities you're going to do that are the norm for you, and to get those scheduled. So in that way, when the whirlwind of everything else that goes along with the holidays comes around, now all of a sudden you know that, hey, you know what, at 10 a.m. I'm going to go for my run. Or at, even earlier in the day at 7 a.m. I'm going to go to the gym, lift weights early, and then I have the rest of the day to be with my family, be with my friends, and celebrate. So this is a really big thing that we find that the people that are able to exercise on a consistent basis and that are able to maintain their health and well-being over the course of the holidays, this is one of the things that they do, where they plan ahead of time what their activity is going to be like.
Now, some fun pockets of the day you can find to, insert your workouts are before everyone in your house wakes up, or let's say there's like a normal downtime, maybe after breakfast, or maybe your kids do a little quiet time or relaxing time or a movie time after lunch just to take a chill. That would be a great time for you to hop on the MAS home workout program and get your 20 minutes in. Or maybe, it's after the house goes to bed. Maybe you're a night owl and, 7, 8, 9 p.m. is a great time for you to work out. This would also be a great time to find ways to work out in your house, especially because I think during the holidays, we don't want to spend the extra time to commute to the gym and commute back. And I think too, people are more conscious of germs right now. So definitely finding a way to work out in your house, whether that is doing the MAS home workout program. Each workout there is 20 to 30 minutes long, or finding something that works for you. But make sure you're finding these fun pockets in the day where you can sneak in some working out. And I think the next point we have will also blend into this, but also potentially if you're finding that, I take my kids outside, you can find ways to exercise while they are exercising as well.
Yeah, it's such a great point, because it does lead into our second tip for you, which is to look for ways to be active that are outside of your norm. Okay, so if you normally go to the gym and lift weights, if you normally, go for a bike ride, if you normally go for a run, look for opportunities that are presented by the holidays to be active in ways that are outside of your norm, whether it's time off from work where you can go and hike a trail, or if you have, a pool at home or access to a pool and all of a sudden you find yourself at home, now you can, utilize that pool, different ways of being active that are not the norm for you. Those can be super beneficial during this time when there is so much other stuff going on that's also outside of the norm that tends to throw people off their typical workout routine.
Also, something, especially if you have kids, something that would be really fun, I was just thinking about this, is I think kids love when their parents play with them. One thing you could do is you can brainstorm an obstacle course outside and you do it with them. That's a great way to get in exercise. Or you could have everyone in your house write down 3 different exercises or tasks on a popsicle stick, and then you go around and everyone has to pick one, and whatever's picked you have to do. Something like 10 jumping jacks or, 5 squats, something fun and interactive with your family. This is something that, holidays give us time. And during this time, it's cool that we can, do different things with our kids and plan these different activities. You also could do this with a roommate or, your husband or wife that you live with, or you can do it over FaceTime or Zoom with a friend. You guys can challenge each other to different exercises and build them in so that they're, 20, 30 minutes long, and there's your exercise. That's like a fun way to really build social interaction with the people that you're trying to hang out with anyways.
Yeah, I really love that obstacle course idea.
I know.
And it can be so simple, right? Like you saw one on Facebook where an obstacle course was built just with chalk drawings on the sidewalk, and the kids kind of went around the sidewalk that surrounded their neighborhood, and they drew different things, and when you got to this symbol, it meant you needed to, run backwards or, side shuffle or whatever. It was really neat. It's just a very simple, cost-effective way to get some activity in, but it's outside the norm and it looked really fun.
Yeah. I always remember in gym class, a lot of people will be surprised by this, but I actually don't really like sports at all. Like, I don't like when people are throwing like balls at me or I have to try to aim something. But I do like being active, obviously. So I always loved the gym days when we weren't playing basketball or we weren't playing soccer or running. My favorite days were obstacle course days. Or I remember in Heart Month, we would always like have to do an obstacle course that mimicked like the rhythm of blood going through the heart. So I always thought the obstacle course and activities like that were so fun. So that's why I thought of it.
Yeah, and anything to get the whole family involved, that's a big deal as well.
Yeah, really fun.
Now, the third tip that we want to give you is, as best you can, plan your food ahead of time. All right. This is a place where people really start to get deterred during the holidays, is because there's all this delicious food that gets presented from, whether you're grilling out or whether it's baked goods or anything else that you enjoy out of the norm on the holidays. What tends to happen is, as we all know, it can be consumed in excess. And while there's nothing wrong with enjoying yourself over the holidays, to be able to maintain your health and make it less detrimental for your health, try your best to plan your food out as much as you can ahead of time. Okay. So what does this look like? It means like, all right, if you know that you're going to go to a cookout later in the day, then be mindful about what you're eating earlier in the day. Okay. If you know that you are hosting a cookout, you're going to have a bunch of leftovers that are going to be with you for a couple days afterwards, then be mindful about what you're eating up to that point. Okay. As well as if you're going to a cookout or you're hosting a cookout or something like that, try to provide yourself with some super easy, healthy options. Whether it's chopped vegetables or fruit or something that is health building, but is also really easy to provide and really easy to consume. That is actually a really key thing that you can do to make sure that the holidays aren't as detrimental to your health.
A couple of things I was thinking of with this point is think about timing and quantity. I think a lot of times the only thing we think about is food is, I ate too much and I ate too much of this one item. And yes, the caloric piece is a thing. But another thing is the lack of nutrition that's happening, because although we're getting a lot of calories, it could be from, like the junk food and high sugar food, which is not nourishing your body. It's not like building and preparing your body for, optimal execution of life. So definitely think about that. So a couple thoughts with planning your food is not just what you're eating, but is like when you're going to eat. So I think a lot of times when we're at cookouts or we're chilling on like quote unquote holiday day, we might have snacks out all day, or we might have, a lot of great options. So you might think, okay, I'm going to have, a 3:00 snack, because I always have a 3:00 snack, but I'm going to make sure it's portion controlled, meaning, I'll take a bowl over to, the pretzels and the fruit and the veggies, and I'm going to, fill my bowl for my snack, and I'm going to decide that that's it. And then again, at mealtime, you can do the same thing where, you prepare your meal, but decide that after you've, filled your plate or you've prepared your meal, that's going to be your meal. Now, if you are hosting, I think one of the biggest things some of my clients will tell me is like, well, I hosted, so, I had like all this stuff and I had to eat it for 5 days, which means it's like 5 days of like, not that great for you. I know, exactly. But guess what? I think we all have freezers now. So if you have a ton of leftover meat or even cooked veggies, you can often put those into freezer bags, and then that's a great meal down the line. And then you're not having to eat this in mass quantities, and you're not trying to like chow down as quickly as you can for 5 days straight. But you can freeze things and save it for later. Another thing is fruit and vegetables. You can freeze those for fruit and veggie smoothies. That's a great idea. So definitely get creative with how you're going to deal and manage with this intense food experience, which is really fun. I encourage you to enjoy it, but kind of plan and prepare. Again, not only planning for like caloric intake, like how much am I eating, but timing and thinking about it in that regard as well.
Well, the tip that you gave for, hey, like fill your bowl and then, be done with it. To me, that's what I know I have to do, because if it's like a bag of chips sitting out, then to me, the bowl is the entire bag, and I'll just like keep eating, especially something with chips. I just kind of
you're like into the salt crunch,
right? Exactly. Or if it's a tray of something sitting out, I'll find myself constantly just kind of going back because it's there, it's sitting out, and I don't have like a definitive, all right, I finished my bowl and now I'm done. But as soon as I get a plate, or as soon as I get a bowl and I fill that up, and then I tell me, all right, when I finish it, I'm done, then like immediately then the desire to keep going back and keep adding more, it goes away, because I have in my mind kind of ended the experience of going and eating that thing. So for me, that's one of the biggest things. So I'm glad you brought that up, because yeah.
it's almost like when you finish your bowl, you could imagine like, oh, well, the whole bag is gone, and I think sometimes at least I do, like, I feel this like feeling of like disappointment, like, dang, I can't believe it's done. That was so enjoyable. But, you're allowed to feel that way and be like, that was great. Okay, I'm done. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, the fourth point that we want to bring up and the fourth tip that we have for you is, hey, take some time to relax, okay? If you find that your lifestyle has been just super busy, super crazy hectic, especially with, everything that has been going on, make sure to take some time over the holidays and kick back, put your feet up and relax, chill out, okay? And you are allowed to do that. It doesn't have to be this go, go, go all the time. Give yourself the time and the permission to relax and just let your body recover and let your body unwind. Even though, there are, maybe things that you want to be out doing right now, or maybe there are places that you want to go or people that you want to see, give yourself the opportunity to relax and recover, because the thing that we see happen with a lot of people is the holidays come around and it's supposed to be this time where we're able to celebrate and we kind of come back recharged. What happens more times than not is people feel more tired after the holidays. They feel more depleted after the holidays, and they didn't take that time to kind of kick back and relax. So give yourself that time, build it into your day just like you would with your activities and just like you're going to plan with your food. Plan out your relaxation time, whether it's early in the morning or middle of the day, like Julie was talking about. Hey, if it's a, time after lunch when, your kids are going to rest or something like that. Give yourself that opportunity to kick back and relax so you can leave the holidays feeling more rested than how you entered.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we put a lot of pretty hefty expectations on ourselves, especially if you feel like you're the host, and you have family coming over, friends. But I think if you can do some strategizing with dispersing responsibilities, whether it's people bringing food, people helping you clean up, give yourself permission to use the paper plates instead of the washable ones. Just little things like that, because Charlie brings up such a good point with it's like people come back from the holidays pooped, because they're celebrating. But while they're celebrating, some people are relaxing and some people really aren't. And it becomes a very stressful experience. So if you could save yourself a little bit from that. And I think especially during this year, although a lot of us have been home for quite some time, it hasn't been like, oh, we're home relaxing for 10 straight weeks. It's been very stressful. It has not been a relaxing experience for a lot of us. And so, during the holidays when things are closed anyways, take the time to really recharge, because your best self is someone that is a body and a mind that is prepared to live your life. And we are not prepared if we're living in a stressed state, which a lot of us have been for the last few weeks. So this is kind of our first holiday, the 4th of July in 2020, after the, COVID quarantine. So, take the time, give your brain and body some well-needed, respect and rest, so that you're, you're prepared to go out into the world and continue to live your life.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the final thing, and that point bleeds right into our last point, the final thing is to give yourself permission to enjoy the holiday, okay? We see very often that people tend to go one of two directions. They either completely disregard their health and just feel like the holidays are a free pass to do whatever they want, or they can be so regimented and they're like, well, I don't care if it's a holiday or not. I'm sticking to my routines. I'm sticking to how I'm eating. I'm sticking to how I'm actually and all those things. And both can be fine and well. But what we want to encourage you to do is to give yourself permission to enjoy the holidays. If you've been very structured and very routine, give yourself permission to not necessarily to go crazy. If you want to go crazy, but to be able to enjoy some foods that maybe you don't normally enjoy, to be able to do some activities that you don't normally do, and to not feel bad about it. All right. Because it's one thing to, eat a bunch of foods that maybe you don't feel well after, but it's another thing to then carry this guilt and this disappointment in yourself around for days and weeks following that. So if you want to eat foods that you don't normally eat, give yourself permission to enjoy them. Give yourself permission to enjoy the experiences, and give yourself permission to enjoy the holidays. And then you'll come out of the time, one, you're likely to come back more rested and relaxed. All right. And then two, you can come back from the holidays with a higher level of health, because you're not going to be putting the mental stress on yourself of, okay, well, you know what? I attended 3 different cookouts over the weekend, so now I need to make up for that in the gym. It's like, well, no, just give yourself permission to enjoy those times. And when you get back into your regular routine, then just kind of carry on where you left off, and not trying to overdo it or trying to make up or trying to do more than you would otherwise do because you're feeling bad about the actions that you took over the weekend.
Charlie, it's such a unique point you bring up, because I think a lot of us use our health actions as a punishment for what we had done previously, and that actually doesn't work, and it's never has worked. It's almost like when you're on a holiday, it's like you squeeze all the toothpaste out of the toothpaste thing, and then you're like, oh, well, so now since I've done that, let's go ahead and put it back. No, you can't put it back. But what you can do is realize that your health is this thing, it's this lifelong thing that ebbs and flows, and holidays are part of that. And if you're exercising and using and trying to improve your health in a way that one holiday or one day or one meal or a few workouts that you miss is going to destroy everything and everything's going to go up in flames because of that, then I think that's a really great time to reevaluate how you're pursuing this health journey. So if you do feel that way after holidays, definitely keep following our podcast, because this is something we talk about all the time, using exercise to build lifelong health rather than, exercise on such a strict regimen that, if you skip it once, then you're ruined for the rest of, the week and stuff like that. So anyways, tangent. So definitely, yeah, Charlie, you make a great point with there's no going back and saying, hey, I'm going to work out now to compensate for what I did prior. It's just part of the lifestyle. It's enjoy your holiday, plan for what you feel is appropriate for you and appropriate for your goals, and move forward.
So to recap, the 5 suggestions, the 5 tips that we have to help you make the holidays less detrimental for your health are: number 1, plan your activity ahead of time, okay? What are you going to do for your workouts? When are you going to do it? And plan those before that time comes, all right? Number 2 is look for ways to be active that are outside of your norm, all right? Create something with your family, whether it's an obstacle course or, a fun fitness challenge or something to get you moving and get active, not just for yourself, but with your family as a whole. Number 3, plan your food ahead of time as much as you can. All right. So think about, I'm going to a cookout for lunch. We're doing something tomorrow in the evening time. And not only monitor yourself while you're there, but also think about the times when you're not there and make sure that the choices that you're making during the cookouts or during the get-togethers aren't carrying over into the meals for the days that follow. Number 4, take some time to relax. Hey, put your feet up, kick back, and actually be able to enjoy the people that you're being around, enjoy the time that you have together, and really allow yourself to unwind and relax over the holidays. And number 5, give yourself permission to enjoy it. All right. It's one thing to go out and, eat a bunch of stuff that you don't normally eat and, not work out at all. It's another thing entirely to say, hey, you know what? Today, I'm okay with doing this, and I'm just going to allow myself to do it. And then tomorrow, we're going to be back at it, and we will get back into the structure, get back into the normal routine, because I've given myself permission to enjoy these activities today. So that being said, if you are looking for a way to work out while you're at home, you don't want to leave your house and you're short on time with no equipment, then you need to check out our at-home workout program. You can go to matschaumburg.com. You can click the tab that says more, and the first option that will come up will say home workout program. You can download it right from there. We have been getting amazing feedback from the people that have been enjoying it. So if you feel like, hey, you know what, I need a way to work out on my own, there are over 100 workout options within this entire program. So if you feel like this is something that you need in order to make sure that you have a way to exercise while you're at home, definitely check that out. And while you're online, if you wouldn't mind, head on over to iTunes and leave us a rating and review. It helps people find this podcast when they're looking for information on health and when they're looking for information on exercise. So if you found value in this conversation today, let us know by leaving us a 5-star rating and review. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk with you all next week.